Now this is a service position for this easy first service points that you can do. I already explained how to do this service position on the other video, so please watch that. Now, what you can do from here, like I explained in that other video, is there a number of things. Uh, you can check your bucket. This is a 724, and a lot of times the bucket is pushed in on the bottom sides. It's really easy to bend them back. I'm using this locking plier type thing to pull it back into position, or you can use locking pliers. You put it on the end of the bucket there and bend it back. Now the reason why you want to do this is because when they bend in, they get too close to the augers, and then your auger teeth will start eating away at your bucket down at the bottom. Probably some of you have already seen this. So this is one thing you can do. You can also straighten out bends that are in your bucket with locking pliers. That's really easy. But the main thing you want to do is check your shear pins. You want to snug up your impeller pin in the back here. I already took it out because I'm going to show you why, and I wanted to save time. But you want to snug up your impeller pin, shear pin, and you want to check your auger shear pins. Now, what I suggest you do is remove the shear pin and make sure that your auger spins. And the reason why is that over time, the auger shear box, gearbox shaft, I'll show you right here, gets rusty. Water gets in there, this gets rust up, and then your auger will practically be welded onto this auger gearbox shaft. And when that happens, it makes the shear pin useless. And this is what happens. See, this gear shaft broke because of probably because the auger was welded onto the shaft here, and then when it hit an obstruction, something had to give. It could also be because the boss pin failed to break. Some people like to use a hardware bolt instead of the boss pin, which is also a shear pin, and that could cause a failure too. Now, this is a very expensive repair. The shaft alone is over $100 with taxes. And for a shop to rebuild this, they go in, they open it up, they change the bearings. Here's a bearing. They change the oil seals and change any gears that are damaged or chipped, and it costs you $300-400. So by doing this simple check of removing your $1.29 shear pin on your auger and making sure that this spins, you're not going to have that problem. Now on this other side, I already tested it and it was hard to spin. And what I do when that happens is that I go to the side of the bucket here, take out this bolt, and you can spray some penetrating oil. You got a straw, you can spray some penetrating oil in the hole. And to lubricate it, you can use something like this, a WD-40 with silicone lubricant, and you can spray that in to lubricate it afterwards. But you can spray some penetrating oil in there to break this free, and then I'm using this long pole, this wooden pole. You can use anything really as a lever, pry bar, metal pole, or this wooden pole, a broomstick, and I can use this. I can put it in here, After I remove the shear pin, and I can uh, try to break it free. Now, once you break it free, then you can work it. You can work it until it spins freely with the penetrating oil in there. Then afterwards, you can spray some lubricating oil in there. Now, in some cases, this pole won't break the auger free. So in that case, you have to remove the augers. And what I do is I remove the augers. I put a penetrating oil in the hole there, and I stand it up. Let it percolate for a couple hours. Sometimes it takes a couple days. Sometimes it takes longer, but eventually it will break free. So this is pretty important to do if uh, if you want to save your auger gearbox. Now another thing you can do with augers installed here is if you have any blades that are bent. Now if they're bent, what I used to do, I put this lock and pliers on it. I have a couple. You can put the lock and pliers on the bent blade, and you can bend it back into position. What you want is you want equal distance between the augers. So I think this is about 6 inches. So you can measure it if you want to, but you want equal distance between the blades. So this is pretty easy to do, especially on these hydrostatic models. They're a little bit harder to do on the older ones because the older blades on the old Honda models are much thicker. So you can do that pretty easily. You probably don't need one of these, but I use these huge crescent wrenches to bend the blades back. But I do a lot of them. See, here's a here's an 80. This is an old 80. The blades are a lot thicker, so you need a little bit more muscle, and you can bend these back. And also on an 80, you get a different type of shear pin. You get a 80s, the 55s, 50s, 70s. You got a this is the same shear pin that's used for your impeller shear pin in the back here. I don't know if you can see it. That's your impeller shear pin. So you snug that up. You snug these babies up. There's a lot more clearance on the auger gear shaft with these augers. So I've never seen one actually seized. Maybe somebody has. If you have, please comment. But very very rarely do these things seize onto the auger gearbox shaft. Now another thing you can do for this service point is to put the machine on a level surface, and you can check your oil in your gearbox. It takes gear oil, 75 to 90 weight gear oil. This is your check plug or your drain plug on a level surface. You want it to be almost to the plug. If it's not, then you should add some. See, I put a check on this because it's been checked and the oil is okay. So those are the kind of things you can do on this. Is a simple service point. The first thing you can do, anybody can do this with a 10 millimeter wrench, is to check your shear pins and make sure they're snug. You don't want to put them too tight or they'll break, but you snug them up. You can make sure your augers are spinning correctly, and if they're not, then you can pry it loose. Try prying it loose first, and then if it doesn't work, you might have to remove them. But usually this works. I'll spray some penetrating oil in the side hole and let it sit for a while, and I'll keep on working it until it finally breaks free, and then I can once it's spinning pretty good, then you can spray some lubricant in there and button it up. Check your oil on your gearbox, and you can fix any kind of dents that are in it. Over here in the corner, a lot of times this becomes separated, and you can take a locking pliers and bend it back. In some cases, you might have to weld it, but that's basically what you do on the simple service point. Now, let me show you if you have to remove the augers. It's really, really easy. All you have to do is remove the bolts on the side, on both sides. You remove if it has a bracket like this, you remove the 2 bolts. And then that's all you have to do, and then it pulls right out. Well, I gotta take the bolts out. All right. See, I need an editor. Anybody can edit these videos for me? Let me know. All right, I took the bolts off on the sides. Now it'll pull out. You see? It just pulls out very, very easily. And I already disconnected the impeller, but that pulls out also. And now you can put the penetrating oil in the end and let it sit for a couple hours or a couple days, and then it will pull right out. So see how it pulls out? So it pulls apart. Then you can clean up the shafts, clean them up with steel wool or something, and then apply some anti-seize grease on them. And then you can clean out these shafts also with a wire brush or something. I use a reamer on a drill, and then you can clean those out. You put the anti-seize grease on the shafts there, and then you put it all back together, and within 10 or 15 minutes you can be good to go. This is a great off-season project to do. You don't really want to be doing it in the middle of the winter, but it's great to do in the spring or summer. And that's the very first thing that you can do. Now, the second part was just extra in case you can't get your augers to spin. But okay, so that's about it on this one. I'm going to have another part, a couple more parts on the servicing. I want to tell you a little bit about the giveaway we're going to have. We're approaching 250 subscribers, and once we get there, we're going to have another drawing, and whoever wins is going to get a free Honda Snowblower service on their Honda. Or if you're out of the Lake Tahoe area, then I'm going to send you a Honda shop manual of your choice. So, and then on Sunday, in a couple days, I'm going to have a video on impeller kits. And this one already has an impeller kit installed. The previous owner did it, but I'm going to have a video on the pros and cons of a impeller kit and whether you need it or not. Not everybody needs one. So we're going to talk about that in a couple days. So thank you very much for watching, and I'm sorry for the interruption a little bit because I wasn't totally prepared, and I need an editor. I need to figure out how to edit these videos, so I take out all the wasted video parts. So please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.